Dames and Hero, my son Youngin, and welcome to the F1 podcast. I'm joined by Alan
Hello.
and David.
Hola.
So,
A needle pulling thread.
the Japanese sprint race, shall we say? Well, it's the Japanese Grand Prix, but just felt like a Japanese sprint race.
Or should we call it a Japanese stream?
Yeah.
Seems somewhat fitting.
Bit like our F1 Japanese short race, wasn't
No, it wasn't quite as crazy as our short race.
it?
I think actually going thinking about it, I think it was FP2 that Nicholas Latifi ends up tried to go around the short way on the short track.
Yeah, he took the wrong
Yeah.
turn, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then declared there was something wrong with the car.
Yeah.
Because, there's something wrong with you, mate. You turned the wheel too much. So let's go. Let's start by congratulating Max and Red Bull on the championship. We'll get into the ins and outs of it later on, but
Yeah.
it's nice to enjoy a championship that the Merc fans can't argue with, as I've said for a while.
Well, they still can, but
And no, I don't think there's many arguments that he's not put the frigging effort in this year.
Well, to go from where he was at the start of the season and how the car was.
oh yeah. I mean, there'll be still people out there moaning, he doesn't deserve it at the moment, and all this not because of what happened, but technically he does because of loopholes and articles, and yeah.
Charles fucked up.
I was saying, as I put on Facebook, it was ironic. One in Ferrari this year have been absolutely awful, and then Charles goes and basically hands it to him.
Yeah.
Because if Charles had made that corner normally, I don't think Perez had got past him by the line.
No.
Perez had the pressure on, but he wasn't looking like he was going to find a way through. But I mean, it's a good job, and even Max didn't know he'd won it.
Well, yeah.
This was the thing, because of the point system.
Which we're not going to try and explain to you folks, because I'll be honest, none of us fucking understand it either.
Technically, it would have been half race. It was anywhere between 50 to 75% race distance is half points. But because of the new ruling that they made after Spa last year, it only comes into effect if the race is unable to resume.
So what? So what do you mean? That would mean the event where a race didn't actually. Because how to word this?
So basically, if they done the 20
if a race gets stopped and can't restart, the half points apply. But because that race technically finished, albeit in a short distance, because the timer came in instead.
Yeah, it still classifies as full points.
But if the race had been red flagged and never started again, the half point rule would have applied even after that many laps.
Exactly.
Right, I think that makes a little bit of sense to me. That's what I think.
I sat down and read a bit more on it earlier on, because even I was getting confused with it. A lot of people, even a lot of Red Bull fans, would say, he hasn't actually won it because it should only be half points. And this, and that comes from Red Bull fans, fair enough. But I actually read into it a bit more, and it's because anywhere between 50 to 75%, if the race is the loophole is because they were able to finish the race, regardless if it was under timer, full points are given. And it's a loophole that the actual FIA put into place themselves. So really, they screwed themselves over.
Again.
Don't get him started on his favourite subject, his beloved FIA.
Oh, I'm not happy with the FIA at the moment, but there we go. We'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, he does get full race points, and obviously he's got the fastest lap, and it's.
But it was weird because even Christian Horner has said, even he thought it was a mistake because because as equals, we were under the strong impression that only with 75% of the race, which is what you've just said, full points will be scored. So they felt like they were going to be a point short. So basically, he shouldn't have been awarded it there. But because of
Right.
all this loophole shite, that's why he got given it.
The race being between 50 and 75% long should have meant Verstappen scored 19 points, which would not have given him the title even after Leclerc was demoted from second to third. But Article 6.5 of F1 sporting regulations say that reduced points only apply if a race is suspended and cannot be resumed.
Right,
Yeah.
So basically, because it didn't get, there wasn't another red flag, then
Yeah, the race, like I said, the race technically finished.
it
didn't
did.
make 100% race distance, but it finished. That's what this ruling's saying. If the
Yeah.
race, like I say, I'm trying to think of examples like Brazil, where the race did start, if you want to call it that. Not Brazil, Spa, sorry. Where the race did start but just didn't get finished, that wouldn't count under this rule.
No, it didn't. That got canned, didn't it? So
Well, they got points for that in the end, didn't they?
they
Yeah,
only
you
got
get half points.
Yeah.
Last year they only got half points over
So
that.
if they were to red flagged it again, and the timer ran out, then yes, Verstappen would have only got half points. But because the race actually finished, albeit under timer, he gets full points.
Yeah. Which, not really going to argue, but not going to pretend that I understand it either. It's one.
It's what the FIA put in, It's
Yeah, I know.
F1 sporting regulation says that reduced points only apply if a race is suspended and cannot be resumed. Obviously, they're now saying that they've worded it completely wrong and done it completely wrong.
Oh, what have they done right this season so far? They just they need to go through every goddamn sporting regulation to do with F1, look at them, revise them, and make them make sense. Because if people need, even commentators seem to struggle with them sometimes.
Yeah.
They need to make them clear, because if the regulations are going to be read out on TV for the audience, they need to be made so people can understand them. Because we're not like racing drivers ourselves, so we're not going to understand this code, these
I think most of the
regulations.
racing drivers didn't understand them, so I don't think that's
the
problem.
And it's just like, you want people to understand what the fuck you're talking about. Well, make it easy enough so people can understand what you're talking about. I mean, the
Why would you go and do a thing like that?
Well,
If you make it understand, people can question what you do.
Yeah, but
make it as vague as possible, and then you can always do what you want.
Yeah, basically the FIA have just shot themselves in the foot with it.
Again. But it was this whole, oh yeah, we want to improve after Abu Dhabi and all this lot, and it's like, well, clearly this weekend you've shown that you've not done it.
So for those of you who don't know what happened this weekend, it was a whitewash.
Oh, it was a wet wash.
Yeah, literally. There's a shower and there's Japan.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, did you guys get up for the race, or did you stay awake?
I
got up for the race. I will admit I did kind of fall asleep for about an hour during the
the build up.
Yeah. No, I saw
the build up. I call it the interval.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So obviously
I got up about 5:30, watched the first 3 laps. Didn't intend to fall asleep, it just kind of happened. Woke up.
There's not
woke up to finding out about some of the other things that happened, which we'll get onto in good time. And then, as I say, just sat and waited for something to happen.
But it was just like, yeah, so I stayed awake. I know.
What do you want, a medal?
Stayed
This has come from the
awake,
bloke who
you
struggles
know.
with a 12-hour.
You what?
This has come from the bloke who struggles with a 12-hour stream.
I will admit I had a can of Red. I had a can or two of Red Bull.
I actually didn't. This is the guy who refuses to do a 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you'd be dead. I think we'd get so far through and we'd be listening to you snoring.
All three of us. What we'd have to do is we'd have to play farm sim, put it all on workers, and just pretend it was us doing it. Go for a skip.
Oh Christ! But yeah, it was just a case of, sat there for the build up. Next minute, they knew during the build up that it was starting to get heavier with the rain. It was a case of, well, why don't you just skip some of this shit and...
Not to be fair, one of the best people to talk about was Omar Satno, who was saying they knew all this was coming. Why did they set off at a time when they knew they had so little daylight left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Venues like that, why don't they make the race start at 10 in the morning?
Yeah,
Well,
what's actually
why can't
preventing
they
them from doing that?
There is no. They can bring a couple of, a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And in that way, at least they'd have the ability to sit out for better light if that's how they decide they want to play things.
But I don't know if they'd had any support, any certain other support series. Not, I don't mean the like F2 or F3 or anything like that. I mean other events going on.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know if they had other events going on beforehand, and that's why F1 got slotted the way it did. But
it's definitely something they need to look at for next year.
But it's the same with well, I can't say it's the same with Singapore. I can't use Singapore as the example.
Well, Singapore, it didn't matter. The problem they'd had at Singapore would have been if it had got light on them.
Yeah. But it's like the same with some of these tracks. They turn around and say, "Oh, well, you have to have this race run within this time period." And it's like, well, if you actually put the races at decent, reasonable times.
Well, that 3-hour rule was brought in after the famous Canada race of a good few years ago.
Yes.
The favourite was about 5 hours while once again they sat and waited for.
Yeah, but did you not? Yeah, but I mean, come on, how good do some of them cars look with them fucking floodlights though?
Oh yeah.
I didn't quite get the McLaren at Singapore, which I forgot to mention when we talked about Singapore. Was they had this old livery to make it pop, but it really didn't pop.
Well, the McLaren barely popped in many sense of the way this year.
So yeah, the start of the race was what?
About half a lap.
Was it half a lap or 2?
About half a lap. They got under the tunnel, under 130R, and then Carlos Sainz didn't live up to the family name.
He couldn't rally.
They give him a slight bit of slippy conditions, and he's going backwards into a wall.
No fault of his own.
Aquaplaned.
That's what I mean.
It's just ironic. It's ironic the guy whose dad made a living going sideways through forests at 120 mile an hour is the first one to fall off a slippy track.
Like I say, I'm not gonna blame Sainz for binning it because he was just a passenger at that point.
Hey, you can't say anything, mate. I remember you spinning it off the grid.
Yeah, but
yeah, so you can't say anything.
But why?
Let's shut him up, hasn't it?
No, but why, for God's sake, this is what I go back to. Why didn't they start the race a little bit earlier? Because they knew that the rain was. If they knew the rain was coming, they should have started it sooner.
Oh yeah, agreed, 100% agreed.
I mean, as a television viewer, all we really saw was Max and Charles, and fuck all after that. Because you
And
couldn't.
then suddenly Vettel coming out of it sideways.
Yeah.
That was lovely coming out of the pits between him and Latifi.
That should have been an unsafe release, surely.
There
was two of them. Cars should not be going down the pit lane side by side.
Not like that, no.
That's
not
dangerous.
Oh, we know it's dangerous, but it was just fucking drag race. It was a drag race to the pit exit.
Limited drag race. It was like 2 trucks on the M6.
If you notice the Japan's pits, it's slightly different to a lot of the other ones. So normally Mercedes are right at the very are number one. They're in that first spot.
Yeah.
But I think at Japan it's reversed.
Yeah, they're not.
So they're right at the very, very end, where Williams should be.
Yeah. But it's just. It was just crazy. I mean, you looked at the onboards. Yes, granted, the drivers. Well,
You can see nothing.
The drivers probably couldn't see much more than what the TV onboard cameras could see.
And to be fair, the cameras get a better view because of the angle they're at, because they're higher up.
Yeah, but holy crap. I would not like to have been a F1 driver in them conditions. That was sketchy. I know we complain we can't see on the game, but Jesus.
But let's get to the main thing. I've seen the replays and everything on boards and everything else like that of Gasly going past a particular vehicle. And
but that's what was some kind of digger one. It was some kind of.
It was a recovery truck.
It was a tractor.
It was some kind of like it was a wide collar loading shovel, but that's.
But you couldn't see it.
You could see a very dim red light, couldn't you, from the shots that Sky showed?
But if he's going full at whatever speed he was doing, you're not going to really pay much attention to that little dot, basically.
No, but one thing I will say, if you notice, look how fucking bright the rain lights are, the harvesting lights are when it's wet.
Yeah, the LEDs.
Yeah, look how bright they are. And then when you saw that onboard shot, granted, okay, the cameras and all this lot and were pretty screwed because of the spray and everything and the conditions, but you still, you look at it, you can just make its outline out.
I can see a mandate coming where they're going to have to fit lights like that to the actual.
I hope they do.
To any vehicle going on track.
And here's what was it, Karoon or who the friggin' hell was it? Was it Karoon or was it Johnny Herbert or was it?
I don't know. We need more than that.
I'm trying to give me a minute. Was it Paul DeResta that was there on commentary as well, or was it Anthony Davidson? Which one was it?
It was DeResta, wasn't it? Because there was another one we had no Martin, did we?
No.
I thought it was Anthony Davidson, but
I don't know. It could have been David.
It was one of them, anyways.
Put down in the comments, you know which one of us is an idiot. I think it's probably me.
I think it was actually Paul DeResta. I think. But as I was saying, what about the marshals as well?
Yeah.
There was a marshal on the right-hand side of the track. You can just see him. But
left-hand side.
No, right-hand side. As well, there was one on the right-hand side.
Yeah, but there's one right in front of the Ferrari on the left-hand side.
Yeah, no, there was. There was one on the left, but there was also one on the right when you saw Gasly streaming up. And what about them? You couldn't see them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think it was either Karoon or Simon, it could have been Simon Lazenby, said, oh, well, what about making them wear some bright bloody lights? But then it's like...
flashing light on top of the red.
But then one of them had said about the marshals, and it's, what about the marshals' increased visibility, and then one of them had shut. I think it was Paul or Johnny had shut him down a bit, and it's like, well, why? Why are you shutting him down on that suggestion? Granted, the marshals might not want to do it, but for safety aspect, something needs to be done, especially if you've got them on track. Don't just address the vehicle. The vehicle's on track. Address the marshals as well. Help them, because God, bloody hell.
There is also, as much as we, unless you maybe think he's slightly victim blaming, why was Gasly gunning it as hard as he was?
So because at the time, if you look at his dash, it was only on yellows, flashing yellows, and he was actually under Delta.
Yeah, but it was still double wave yellows. He still should have been slower than he was.
Yeah, that should be slow down, prepared to stop.
Yeah, he was double. It was double yellows. So why the fuck was he gunning it?
His excuse was, because I remember his interview, that he was under Delta. He was 9 seconds under Delta. So obviously he was making it up that time by going as quick as he could. So obviously he knew it must have been red flag before it came up on his dash.
But it hadn't been.
No, but I think
I don't know how quick the
I think there may be a slight delay between obviously them telling him it's a red flag to it actually getting onto his dash.
Well, according to trackside, it wasn't red flagged on them panels until he arrived. It was double yellows, but it hadn't actually red flagged until he arrived. Which, yeah, is wrong. I mean, if nobody...
he's going under safety car like we do. We go under safety car. We slow down a little bit. That way we get enough decent time to be able to. I know I do. I floor them. Got plenty of time just to floor it. Basically,
I just wait till that lap's over and the freaking Delta fecks off.
Yeah. So obviously he's going by what he can see on his dash.
Yeah.
Yes, it was double waved yellows.
But
around the area, yes, it was also a safety car at that point as well.
Yeah, but
he's going by safety car rules.
Yeah, but say double wave yellows, the exact wording is slow down and prepare to stop.
Yeah.
So
but obviously, as he said, he's going by. They get given that delta, and he's going by that delta time.
That needs That needs a revision, because like one of the commentators did say as well, not everybody obeys yellow flag rules. He's not.
Oh no, we know they don't.
He's noticed that they're not obeying the yellow flag rules.
No, and the FIA know that.
Yeah, and they don't do anything about it.
No.
This is the thing. It needs looking into. I mean, if nobody knows what the hell we're going on about, go back 2014? Was it the year?
8 years ago, yeah, so 14.
Yeah, 2014. Exact same track. And a driver called Jules Bianchi.
And I don't,
was he Leclerc's godparent or something like that as well?
Yes.
I knew it was something to do with Leclerc.
He was Leclerc's godfather.
And yeah, there was an incident involving a track vehicle. Because there was a vehicle out on track.
Picking up another vehicle.
Yeah, unfortunately the car met a large telehandler.
Yeah.
600 kilo of F1 car versus 10 tons of digger. It doesn't need to figure out which one's going to win.
And again, that's because it was that one particular corner where they were all aquaplaning. Yes, okay, I don't think the conditions were as bad as what they were this weekend.
I was going to say I think they were possibly worse then than they were this weekend.
I think they were worse back then.
Because it started off a dry race and got wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but considering Japan how much water it frigging puts down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's something that should never have happened.
No.
You know, yes, we can sit there and say Japan have their way of doing things. That's fine, but they have a whether they have their own ways of doing things on that track, they have to follow the FIA ruling.
Yeah.
Which means it has to go through the main control center, and in that control center is no doubt it's the F1 team themselves, and they're the ones that give the orders for the marshals to go on track.
Well, yeah, but as they were saying, was it eager marshals or was it something to do with the clerk of the course not realizing that?
That's one thing we are not able to answer.
See, this is the thing we don't know, because obviously at every race you have your race director, obviously you have your stewards, but you also have the clerk of the course. Now, the clerk of the course will be Japanese. This is not me about to get racist. Just going to put that out there. Was there an issue with language barrier? But I doubt
well, no,
it
because is it not an overriding rule that anything to do with an FA event has to be held in English?
Yeah,
this is what I'm about to say. This was what I was about to say. That every clerk of the course has to have either English or, and if I'm right, they have to have the race director's native language as well, just in case. And this is only me speculating here, that the clerk of the course has given the order too quick before it has been confirmed with the race director that there is no other car on track.
but
surely the clerk of the course will be able to see, because all the cars have trackers on them.
Exactly. That's
surely
what I was
he'd be able to
say.
see that information.
Well, yeah, this is what I'm getting at. So, like I say, we don't know if it was, like I say, if it was eager marshals or there's been a fuck up in a big way. That's all I'm gonna say with it.
And we're very lucky that we're here discussing it just in a slightly pissed off way and not in a, has a serious problem way.
Well, that, or unfortunately announcing that Gasly was killed. That.
After his news of signing with Alpine.
Exactly. But you know what I mean? That should never happen. It should never have happened again. And hopefully, if there is a big accident, I don't think there will be, but if there was a big accident at Quarter, you hope that lessons can be learned very quickly. You know what I mean? Any future races involving wet weather now need to be treated a little bit more seriously.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know there is a full investigation going on at the moment. How long that investigation is going to take, we don't know. So
we don't even know if we're going to hear what the hell's going to happen with that.
Oh, we will do.
I bet the FAA will keep it quiet.
No, I think there's too much attention on it.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I think they will keep everybody updated when they do actually come out with it. Even if they admit whether they admit to it or not. I think they will. They will publish some sort of result or findings from the investigation.
I can't see them admitting shit. They tried to put the blame on Gasly. So they're not going to admit shit.
I mean, he got penalised for it.
He got, which...
As I said, I'm not entirely, because he was, considering the situation, he was caning it.
He was booking it, yeah. So, I'm not going to...
So I'm not entirely... I'm not trying to blame him. I'm not trying to blame him for what happened, but he could have been handling that situation differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it goes back to what I said to you guys before we go online. the new situation being red flagged, there should have been no service vehicles on the track until they knew every car was off the track.
Yeah.
It's not like a yellow flag situation where they're racing to get it cleared quickly, no pun intended.
But
They knew they had time. They just needed to be a bit more patient before
Yeah.
getting large pieces of machinery out onto an open circuit.
I think what they try and do is, especially when it comes to safety cars and red flags, is once that area is clear of all cars have gone past that particular area, yes, get the marshals on, get the vehicles on, because they know it's clear.
In a safety car situation, yeah. In a red flag situation, I'd say wait till everything's in the pits.
Yeah. Wait till the race had been fully neutralized, which at the point that vehicle was on track, that race had not been neutralized. Yes, it was under safety car, but not every car had cleared.
No, because obviously Gasly was at the back of the grid because he had to pit for
a new front wing.
To have his advertising board removed.
Yeah.
There's questions over that as well. How that managed to become loose, because they're fixed on.
Because of the high impact that Science had into it, it actually shot it across the grass, and because obviously where it's wet, it's sliding across and got caught on the actual track itself.
But let's talk about Sainz and his aquaplaning crash, and how fucking lucky he was.
I was just about to say the exact same thing, because I've seen quite a few different replays and how far he actually came back onto that track.
If
his foot wasn't on that brake and he carried on rolling, he would have been taken out big time, and there would have been
Alonso would have hit him. I mean, you saw when you looked back on Alonso's on board how close Alonso was to Sainz.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was just like, we could have had Spa 90. Was it 95?
I know what you're aiming at, and I couldn't tell you the year, but yeah.
We could have had that again. Even worse. The front lot would have got away, but there'd have been if Alonso would have hit with the amount of cars that were there, that would have just been a big chain reaction.
Well, Phil, we could have had Spa last year with the W Series.
Well, yeah. And it's a shame that W Series have had to can their last couple of races because of funding.
Last 3 races.
Because somebody did a Nigerian prince.
But yeah, we could have, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean lessons can't be learned, though.
But as the drivers say, they choose to get in that car, they put their lives at risk every time they get in that car.
Yeah.
They do it for the fans. They do it for the love of the sport.
Yeah.
They want to give the fans a great time, a great time, a fun experience and things like that. But when you receive things like that, it is a danger. There always will be at every race. Wet, dry, makes no difference. There's always that possibility of something happening. We've seen that in the past.
Well, look at look at Monza this year. Danny Ricciardo's car. They had to bring the loader on to get his car off.
Yeah.
Because even though his car got stuck in gear. Yes, that was under safety car. But it got neutralized pretty quickly. That was in the dry. That was, where was he?
That was in the dry in good visibility.
Yeah, but where was he at? Was he?
He was just at the end of the final DRS zone, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was before the S's.
Just before the bit where Alan got taken out by Kimi.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Cheers, David.
We love reminding you of that one, mate.
At least that was handled as good as it could be. There was no mistake. They waited until at least until
everything was behind the safety car. Everything was sort of as controlled as
was
it could be.
controlled. Whereas this was just there wasn't. It was just a complete fuck up. We'll see. We'll see if we get the results of this investigate. The results of what they're going
I
to
think
investigate.
I think we will, because obviously drivers have complained about it. Team principals have complained about it. You know, it was not handled in the right way whatsoever. It wasn't done correctly, and something needs to be sorted.
Agreed.
And
You know, 8 years ago we lost a young driver who had potential.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
You know, there was always that talk after he passed, you know, that he would have been driving for Ferrari at some point anyway. Which is why Charles, without taking it away from Charles, who is a great driver, don't get me wrong, but it was actually down to Jules that he's actually driving for Ferrari now, because that's what he wanted.
But he didn't do himself any favours, did Charles? At the race.
He did Max a big favour.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did Max a big favour, but didn't do himself.
I'm guessing he woke up this morning to a nice big crate of Red Bull on his front doorstep.
Did you see his tyres compared to Max's?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, basically, Charles's tyres were slicks.
Yeah, they were caned proper well and truly. Yeah.
That explains why he overshot the last corner then.
Yeah, they couldn't pit him because he would drop down to 5th. So yeah, they just had to carry on as they were, and they were screwed. You know, before with Hamilton and things like that, where they started on inters and they stuck to inters because they've just gone to slicks basically.
Yeah.
And
so there is no point bringing somebody in when the car's going quicker because they've basically slick tyres now.
Yeah, it was just. It was. I'd say it was one of the better races, but considering we've not been there for 3 years.
Awful lot of controversy over this one.
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the F1 community loves good controversy.
Yeah.
It's just very. Yeah, again, decisions and not this whole double race director thing. Because it's kind of weird because Eduardo Freitas was race director at Singapore and all.
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily said two of them means they're going to full on alternate. It'll depend on availabilities and.
Oh, yeah, they were supposed to alternate. They were supposed to be alternating them.
Maybe it was just easier because he was at Singapore to get him to Japan rather than fly him back to
wherever.
I'm guessing probably based in France for the FIA and fly the other guy out there because I'm guessing we're probably get the same director for most of the American ones because once you've got him out there, it makes sense just to keep him out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know, but it's just there's just no consistency between them two again. You know. And another point I'm going to raise as well is this whole VAR system that we're supposed to have in Formula One.
Have they actually used any of that sort of system?
They've not fucking used it. It doesn't exist.
No, they tried it this way so you could see fuck all.
This is the thing. I don't think it exists. Unless somebody can show me proof that this VAR system that they're supposed to have in place exists, then I'll turn around and say, well, it exists. But in my mind, it doesn't exist. It was something to put out there to quieten certain fan groups. That is what I feel. I think it's a load of bullshit.
Because... Well, we'll find out. We'll still find out in time whether Max is still a 2-time world champion or just a 1-time.
I don't think. I think if he loses his championship from last year, I don't think it'll fucking bother him.
Nah.
Because what's the point? He's a champion.
And what? I don't think Hamilton had wanted that way either. I think that had...
No.
No.
I mean, would they give Hamilton the championship? Would they actually give him it?
Technically, they would have to, because if he loses points, then Hamilton technically becomes the champion.
But would Hamilton want it?
Whether he wants it or not, he still becomes champion.
Yeah, because if it's a points deduction, it would just go to whoever was... It's like when they do a post-race penalty and the positions shift.
Whether he wants it or not, he would be technically the champion.
Yeah.
So he will technically be an 8-time world champion.
And then he'll fuck off out of the sport.
Which means he's beating Michael's record and everything else.
And then he'll leave the sport.
I don't think he will yet.
I think he will. That's all he's hanging on for is the 8th championship.
I don't reckon, as much as I love Hamilton, we all know that, but I don't think he'll get it. Too many youngsters out there now.
I honestly, and I would agree, so I would think if somehow Mercedes did next year manage to springboard back, could Lewis beat George?
Well, because George beat Lewis.
Yes, possibly.
Well, no, we're making the same point. The reason I'm trying to make is you've got to admit this year George has been the stronger of the two drivers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He's what, 4th in the Drivers' Championship?
I think so. Yeah, I think.
1 second. Yes, he is. He's 4th. Hamilton 6th.
It says it all.
Who's in between them? Norris. Or would it be Sainz?
You've got
It's Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez.
Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc.
Perez jumped to second, did he, after
Yes.
this weekend?
Yeah.
So it's Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, Russell.
I'm guessing Sainz in 5th.
Hamilton, Norris, Ocon, Alonso, Bottas, Vettel, Ricciardo, Gasly, Magnussen, Stroll, Mick Schumacher, Tsunoda, Guan Yu Zhou, Albon, Latifi, De Vries, and Hulkenberg.
Hang on. Shouldn't De Vries be higher than that?
No.
Because he scored points, didn't he?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, but he only
so
got.
Latifi actually got more points than De Vries at this stage?
Yes.
Well, bugger me.
Miracles do happen.
Yeah. Give me a second. He's going to get a weather forecast for hell.
No, they got the same points. They both got
2.
2 points each. But because De Vries and
Because Latifi got them more recently, his will come up.
yeah, most probably. Plus, obviously, he's
Because he's no, the way it is because Latifi is an active driver.
yeah.
No, that wouldn't make. He'll go on who had the most recent result.
Well, yeah, but because he is still the active driver as well, he will. But obviously, Latifi had the more recent result. If Latifi hadn't have scored, De Vries would have been in 21st.
Yeah.
Mind you, there's only a point between Leclerc and Perez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's only 5 points between Sainz and Russell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the big prize may be done, but there's still quite a few littler ones here and there to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's still the constructors, which Red Bull, if they get a good result, will claim a quarter.
Yeah, I must admit I don't
It's
overly keep track of that, so I don't have like.
At the moment, I think the main battles are between Alpine and McLaren.
It's Alpine, McLaren. I would say Alfa Romeo. That's what.
No, it'll be literally Alpine and McLaren, Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin.
Which was
Yeah, but it's literally Alpine against McLaren, Alfa Romeo against Aston Martin. Haas was fighting AlphaTauri because they're on 34 points each.
Wow, yes, that's a nice close one.
Yeah, Williams are out of it this season completely.
Yeah.
Second season in a row.
So
Because there's only 6 points between Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin, and 13 points between McLaren and Alpine.
yeah,
And of course, come the end of the year, those positions mean money.
Yeah. Well, Haas is currently sitting in 8th. AlphaTauri is currently sat 9th.
Yeah.
which is considering AlphaTauri's form last year.
Considering Haas's form last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I say, if Red Bull finish decently at quarter, then that's the constructors done. They can't be caught.
Yeah.
Mathematically, they can't be caught now. Mercedes can't. Don't think Mercedes can catch Ferrari, can they?
Nah. They could do. Mercedes on 387, Ferrari 454.
So you two always have the numbers down. I don't know off the top of my head, so.
That would. Basically, Ferrari would have to be really shocking, and Mercedes would have to be like second and third all the time.
Stranger
Possibly.
things.
The really
things
shocking
happen.
from Ferrari is not seeming totally unfeasible right now.
No.
Obviously, you know, the McLaren and Alpine battle is going to be the big one. And like you say, it's going to be the battle between AlphaTauri and Haas and Aston Martin and Alfa Romeo. So
Well, yeah, because you think 6th to 9th, there isn't actually that much in it.
no,
You know, if Alfa Romeo keep going on with the engine failures they've had in the past, Haas don't do as well as what they have been doing, then yeah, AlphaTauri will finish up a lot higher.
yeah. Well, like I say, we'll have to see what happens with that because I mean it's going to be an interesting close for the final podcast when we do that after Abu Dhabi. That's going to be a interesting discussions and to see the final points and get the final totals for the season.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have a full F1 2023 lineup.
Hopefully by then, yeah, that would be nice. And then it'll be getting prepped for next year's season and the discussions we'll have there. We might do another don't know if we'll do another pre-season. We might do another pre-season.
See what there is to report on.
Mm.
Don't worry, folks. We'll bring the news after everybody else.
But we'll bring you news.
But it's just, yeah. Right, I'm going to put these little questions to use too.
Go on.
Do you see McLaren on their current form beating Alpine in the Constructors' Championship this year?
No.
No.
I think Alpine are stronger now. Maybe it's the lineup, you know. I mean, Alonso has literally driven out of his skin this year.
I think obviously Danny Rick's not being at his best hasn't helped McLaren in the slightest. You know, it's a lot of it's been left to Norris. So I can't see them getting that fourth spot.
I'd be inclined to agree with that.
I think if Ricciardo been performing at his best all the way through, then yeah, it'd be a completely different situation. I reckon McLaren would have been fourth, but yeah,
Would you agree with this? If Williams, if their car had been better and like Haas's, do you think they could have been higher up?
no,
Um,
different driver lineup, yeah.
yeah, that I get where I'm coming from there, and I do not disagree.
What, so you mean scrap both the drivers or just one of the
I,
drivers?
I think Albon's done his best.
I think Albon surprised us all. I
Yeah,
will openly admit that Albon has done a lot better than I thought he was going to. However, if that would have been much, however, if it would have been much of a difference at the far end of things, I just think they've not been good. I just think, and I think the pace of the others, I think they need. It's a shame because they're a team I'd like to see doing well, one of the old school, but they need a serious rethink of what they're doing. In my book.
I mean, I think Albon could have done a lot. Obviously, yes, if they had the better car, yeah, I reckon Albon could have got a lot more points than the 4 that he got.
Hmm.
You know, Latifi, I think he would just bend every single race because he wouldn't be able to cope with the car.
Yeah,
He
but
can't. If he can't cope with it now, how's he going to cope with it with a better car?
exactly. But the the car's not been there for them. You know, we said that about Haas. We said that about Haas last year. The car wasn't there for Haas last year. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
it's not a title winning car that Haas, but for them to walk away,
Excuse me.
at the moment with 34 points, it's the same with AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri were on form last year and then just suddenly dropped this year. For Haas to walk away with 34 points at the moment, it's 34 points more than what they had last year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I don't
But
know what it is with Williams. I don't know if it is driver lineup or is the car just totally shit.
6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
yeah,
I mean, I like, well, sort of like Latifi, but I'm not.
None
I'm
of us
not.
are none of us are criticizing him as a person.
No,
I don't think.
I'm just not. I'm not gutted to be seeing him go.
No.
I'm not as gutted as I am to see Danny leave the sport.
Unfortunately, not everyone's got the raw ability to make it in the sport.
I think one of the presenters said it quite brilliantly actually about Danny Rick. He was forced out.
Yeah, I think that was. I think it was Paul di Resta, if I'm right.
It was Paul di Resta or Anthony Davidson, one of the
It's
two.
one of them, but I think it's Paul di Resta.
But he was forced out basically.
Well, we know he was forced out because of bloody Piastri. That's what it was. This whole Piastri situation. And I'm sorry, but if Piastri does not perform next year, I'll laugh my fucking ass off. Because it'd be like, well, you fucked up there. You
Don't you
let
need that ass?
No, but you let go of a semi-good driver and you got that.
Yeah.
A semi-good driver who hasn't done a great deal this year. I know what you're saying. I don't disagree with you, but he's not exactly done himself a massive service as to why he should stay in the sport. To my eyes.
And there's, well, neither's Lance Stroll, but
Ron stores him because his dad runs the team. We know that.
But fuck me, he had some balls.
Oh yeah, crack. You know,
I
off that
completely.
line, he had grip.
Yeah, I forgot. I was trying to gonna mention that earlier, and I completely forgot till now. And it's just like, fuck me, he had some balls. You could see the dry sort of bit of the track, and he just fucked off down. Jesus Christ! And then suddenly arrives at a scene of nothingness. But yeah, he was smart about that. Everybody was sort of diving in the middle, weren't they?
Yeah.
And he just thought, nope, I'm gonna go that way. But yeah,
I mean, yes, okay, Stroll's. We obviously know why Stroll's in the game and things like that. But then he's not a bad driver. He's not great. He's never going to win world champion.
no.
He's had one race win, hadn't he? Or am I blanking there?
Don't think he has.
I can't remember even if he had better results at when he was at Racing Point.
Well, didn't he not drive for Williams first?
Google. I don't know. Can't
I'm
remember.
pretty sure he did some time for Williams before his dad went and bought the team.
He's had 3 podiums, 0 wins,
Fair enough.
1 pole position.
Mm.
His very first race was the 2017 Australian Grand Prix.
With?
Just looking at that now. Williams.
Oh, okay.
Boom. 10 points.
2018, he stayed with Williams. 2019, he went to Aussie Racing Point.
That was obviously when Lawrence bought it.
And then obviously stayed with them till 2021 when Aussie Racing Point went to Aston Martin.
Yeah. And
I mean, he has won obviously championships in other categories.
Yeah.
He was the Italian F4 championship. He was the 2015. He was the Toyota Racing Series champion, and in 2016 he was the F3 European champion.
Yeah. But like I say, the problem is because the FIA have made things a little bit difficult for people to get super licenses as well. We're not gonna see. We might not see a lot of young talent come through.
I don't know. With what we're seeing coming through now to go by, we have got some promising stuff coming through.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, you've got who's Aston Martin's reserve? Is it Drugovic?
Hey, you knew we had this information to bet.
I usually do.
And also, I have no idea.
I think it is for. It could be Felipe Drugovic. I think he signed them.
He signed them. Wow, that's a different way
Well,
around
you
to doing
know what
things.
I mean.
So usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, Felipe Drugovic, I was correct. And he was F2 champion.
Yeah.
So that means he replaced his Hulk.
Assuming they go down that avenue and they don't bring somebody else in and leave him as the reserve. Because, that's happened a few times.
Not entirely sure, because obviously they're going to bring in Felipe Drugovic. But then,
Thing is, though, he's 22.
So he's not exactly a youngster in the grand scheme of.
No.
yeah, but like I said, they were going to bring in Colton Herter, and he, how old was he? I need to. Colton Herter. I mean, Colton Herter was an American. He's an American, and he's only 22 and all, but he couldn't get his racing license. He couldn't get the super license. He didn't get it granted by the FIA, and
Right.
he's IndyCar.
So Drogovic will be going out in the first free practice session of Abu Dhabi for
Yeah.
Aston Martin.
Which is fair enough. We've no.
Well, yeah, they're all allowed to use them.
Yeah, but McLaren won't get Piastri
Oh no.
because he's not been. I'm sure Otmar was asked when they're going to allow him to go to try from McLaren.
Yeah.
And who did Red Bull sign recently? I should know that.
Don't know.
No, I don't keep massively track of these things.
I mean, what still amazes me is drivers like Tom Pilot and Montoya is still racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liam Lawson is now Red Bull's reserve, replacing Vips.
Right.
Well, Vips. There was all that controversy.
Controversy in F1, I don't believe it.
No, it was in F2.
Controversy is only the FIA one, I don't believe it.
I was just trying to see if there's quickly before we finish if there was any things going around of possible who's going to take that Williams seat.
There's still no rumours. I've been looking.
Yeah, I haven't been.
Well, Bottas is only contracted until 2024. So.
You think they won't want Bottas? They're not going to sign him for like a long multi-year deal because they're thinking his age is probably going to count against him there.
Well, Ferrari have not offered new contracts yet because them two are only.
Yeah, but that'll come next year.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, they haven't announced Haas. Russell's been given a multi-year deal. Hamilton is only contracted till the end of this season.
Yeah.
Verstappen's 2028. Fucking hell, he's on a long contract.
Red Bull know what they're doing.
And obviously, Albon's on a multi-year deal, but the other ones, obviously, we don't know who's replacing Latifi because it was going to be Colton Herter, but because
As you say, he didn't get a license.
Because of his license, he then that now sort of screwed things. Could screw things over for Williams.
Yeah.
So we don't know who yet. And as we know, Alonso's going to Aston Martin. I still think Stroll. They should sort of bin Stroll off if I'm honest.
Can't though.
I know they can't. Well, they can, but it'll just annoy him. But anyways, have you two got any closing?
I just hope the FIA sort themselves out.
Yeah. I would have gone with that. I was going to put to you two just a quick one. Obviously, the championship first is now decided. Do you think Red Bull are going to manage it in Kota? Sign the constructors away and then focus on next year?
No, I still think they carry on as what they've been doing.
I think they'll get the constructors in Kota.
Oh yeah, they'll get constructors, and I still reckon they'll just carry on what they've been doing all year.
Oh, they will. They'll carry on until Abu Dhabi and just absolutely probably cake it at Abu Dhabi and just. I think Ferrari might just give up now. I reckon. I can't see
What
Ferrari.
do you mean you don't think they have already?
And one thing I will say, do you not think Charles Leclerc was proper pissed at Japan?
I'm not sure he was.
I don't think he even spoke to Max in the cool down room, did he?
Was he even in there? Because they got Max into that throne room.
What was that shite about? That was a lot of balls. Then he decided to go back in the cool down room because he was on his own. Didn't want to be on his own. It was like, why do you just leave him in there for fuck's sake? Unless it was just for a couple of pictures or something.
But yeah, I have to think. For me, I think my last point would be the FIA need to sort themselves out of this situation and regulations and everything else.
Yeah.
I know they're trying to make it interesting and things like that, but they're stabbing themselves in the foot with it all.
The FIA need to take a long, good, hard look at themselves again. It was all well this new guy coming in, but what's he done?
Annoy you.
No, but I mean, no, but what has he done? What's it achieved this season? Or this season so far?
I think they should just have Messi there. Simple as.
And that's it. At that moment, every Hamilton fan's just stopped listening.
But that means one Hamilton fan would have to disappear, but even though he said it.
Chris is now getting hit by DMs at a rate you would not believe.
But
I agree with Alan. I'm sorry. I agree with him.
I won't go admitting that in public.
Oh, I don't care. I agree with it.
Yes, he made a few cock-ups. But no more than what... Nothing as bad as what's happened so far this season. But there's been too many cock-ups.
Too many cock-ups and one serious cock-up.
You know, so...
At least, like I say, at least when Massey was around, the races were neutralised and shit before vehicles decided to enter the track.
Well, yeah, because he was all about safety.
Yeah. I'm sorry, and I can't remember which one it is that was under Charlie Whiting. I can't remember which one it was, whether it was Neil Vittage or Eduardo Freitas. Fucking Charlie would be rolling in his fucking grave if he'd saw that.
Oh, yeah.
If he'd have still been alive and he was still in control, that wouldn't have happened.
No.
Definitely.
The poor guy would be rolling in his fucking grave. Fucking he'll go back and haunt one of them. Fucking hell, I would. Jesus. It's awful. But yeah, I agree. FIA, sort your fucking shit out. Seriously. I've been saying it for God knows how many podcasts recently.
Really?
And you basically proved our point and everybody's point, or most people's points, in a big way with your latest cock-up in Japan. That was dangerous and stupid.
Yep.
And I can, I'll admit I was even tempted to because when I saw what had happened, I tagged David Croft and whatever in that tweet. I was so tempted to find the president of the FIA and tag him in it as well. I imagine his Twitter blew up, if I'm honest.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
he must be shut it down.
But yeah, no, they need to take a good look. Stop fucking all this non-admitting bullshit and trying to pass the buck to somebody else. Take fucking full responsibility for your actions. But this is what I'm saying. They're trying to make themselves look good by skirting around, making themselves look good by, oh, we have improved this season, all this lot. We've learned from the mistakes and all this crap. And it's like, well, really? What you fucking smoking there in France? You've been going,
Garlic, because onions.
You've been going over to Amsterdam to get some of the fucking weed. Jesus. They really just, yeah.
On that bombshell.
Yeah. So, we're going to end this one here. So thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you are watching. Well, you'll be listening on YouTube, so. But anyways, yeah, Don't forget you follow us on Twitch. All links are in the description, and we shall see you for the next one, which will be Quarter. So,
yeah.
Until then.
Adios, amigos.
So long, folks.
Goodbye for now.